Every year, thousands of people become victims of holiday scams. With online holiday shopping the norm for nearly everyone, all of us are potential targets for cyber criminals looking to defraud us of our hard-earned money and steal personal information. Hear from cybersecurity experts, law enforcement officers, and business professionals on what you can do to protect yourself against holiday scams. Next on Insights on PBS Hawaii.
Aloha and welcome to Insights on PBS Hawaii. I'm Yanji Denise. The holidays are here. Shopping centers and homes are adorned with decorations, and everywhere you look online, there are advertisements for spectacular deals for items on everyone's wish list. Hackers and cyber criminals are busier than ever trying to take advantage of online shoppers and deal seekers. Fraudulent giveaways, charities, and too good to be true offers are a few of the methods cyber criminals use to steal personal information and money from unsuspecting victims. Tonight, we will talk with business, technology, and law enforcement experts about what you can do to protect yourself from scammers this holiday season. We look forward to your participation in tonight's show. You can email or call us with your questions. We also encourage you to get involved with the conversation on our Facebook page. Now to our guests. Attila Saras is the president and CEO of SciPac, a cybersecurity and IT infrastructure management firm that works to safeguard organizations from cyber threats. He also writes an online bulletin that warns consumers and businesses about the latest cyber scams. Raji Tolentino is an enforcement attorney with the State Office of Consumer Protection at the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. His office is responsible for investigating and prosecuting unfair or deceptive trade practices. Roseanne Freitas is a public relations and communications manager for the Better Business Bureau, Great West and Pacific. She sits on various boards, including Executive Women International and the Building Industry Association. NHPT Lieutenant Andrew Maddock is a 14-year veteran and oversees the department's cyber crimes, computer forensics, and crime analysis details. He serves on the technical advisory board for the National Computer Forensics Institute. You all are clearly the right people for the job. Great bios there, and wonderful to have all of you in studio. Attila, I want to start with you because you do that roundup. Tell us about some of the more creative scams you're seeing right now.
Well, I'll tell you, the FBI has really let us know what we need to focus on. And pig butchering is the big one. It's even taken over business email compromise. And I know pig butchering is kind of a weird name, right?
I'm thinking, what is he talking about?
Well, think of pigs. You know, you got to fatten them up before you go take them to be slaughtered, right? So that's what they're doing with consumers. They're bringing in consumers to participate in what they call crypto, get rich quick kind of scams. And they start with some relatively attractive looking people. They'll reach out perhaps accidentally on Facebook or through Instant Messenger, and they'll say, hey, let me tell you about how I got wealthy. And look at the pictures on my Instagram page. Doesn't it show how successful I am? And don't you want to invest in the same things that I am? Well, sure enough, if you get pulled into that, there's people who have lost not tens of thousands of dollars, but hundreds of thousands of dollars by being strung along by these scammers. And the FBI now warns that this is the top scam that's on our streets right now. So we really need to be cognizant of these kind of pig butchering scams where you can be pulled into a crypto scam. And I hope that some of our viewers are conscious of this now, because it particularly affects the older generation. So those who are a little bit better off, who have some disposable income and want to get rich, or maybe are not that familiar with what crypto is, they've maybe heard the word thrown around, but it really does affect those people the most. So don't be seduced by a get rich quick. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah, we've heard that before, but that's a very interesting way of putting it, a pig scam. I have not heard of that. Let's go to you, Roseanne. What are some creative ways that you're seeing scammers try to target people right now?
So kind of a lot of what Attila was saying, you're seeing a lot more involvement with that cryptocurrency. Part of it is it's that unknown. And so people really want to jump in on it, but even more, they want to make great money. And so they're being dangled this carrot of go ahead and invest, and there's no risk. Now, I think we all know from basic economics, first of all, there's always a risk. And And the higher the return, the higher the risk. So they're being basically lied to. So that is what we're seeing out there. But all of these scams, they're taking, probably the big one I'm seeing now is they're using multiple layers, and they're using one type of scam to help perpetrate other scams. And they're using, as we mentioned, money mules, people to help them direct their money who are victims of another scam.
Walk me through one of those layers. What do you mean by that?
So a lot of times they may have taken money from one person. We saw it during the pandemic with the unemployment claims. These people didn't necessarily live in that state. The money was sent to them via their bank account, and then they were convinced by this person to send the money on. They were money laundering, however, they didn't realize they were doing it. They thought they were just helping out this person that they had a romantic relationship with. So they're using various victims to help move their money along so that when law enforcement goes after them, they can't find them. And most of them are really, they're not here in the US. They are international crime rings, and it is much harder for law enforcement to get to them.
Raji, what do you hear? I know that people who have been victimized, they're calling your office. What are some of the stories that you're hearing right now?
Yeah, so the number one thing that we're seeing is imposter scams. Imposter scams is when someone pretends to be, they're not, to get some information from you, or maybe money, your social security number. The one that I've heard recently was people would call in and say, hey, I was offered this job, and part of my job is to cash the check for my boss. They cash the check, they purchase items for the company, quote unquote, and then the check bounces, and so that person is liable for that money that's not there. So that's pretty heartbreaking. Romance scams is a form of imposter scams. That's when someone pretends that they're interested in you romantically, and they try to get your money that way too.
Oh, that must be so heartbreaking. And what kind of recourse do these victims have if, as she was saying, the perpetrators are often overseas?
It's very difficult to get any recourse. The only thing we could suggest is never give information to anybody that calls you. Don't never give out your social security number, personal information. Never send money to anybody, especially if somebody's asking for gift cards. Mm-hmm. That's a red flag for it is a scam.
Okay. Lieutenant, I know that you get calls as similar to Raji. What are you hearing right now? What are sort of like the trends that you see with the scams?
Oh, yeah. So with the Honolulu Police Department, we get reported scams from all over Oahu. And we always see crime trends. It depends on the type of year and like what's going on in the news actually determines which scams are occurring. Right now, we're seeing a lot of the pig butchering. That's probably the number one right now. But also the tech support scam. So the tech support scam specifically takes advantage of people that don't know as much about computers. So elderly people or even younger people that don't know too much about computers usually fall for that. What they'll do is it can be launched in multiple different ways. One way is when you're on your computer and maybe you have a problem with it, you go to Google and you type in, iPhone repair or something like that. And then they'll actually take out ads on Google that look like legitimate ads. Like it'll say Apple support, but it's really just a scammer. And it'll have a phone number. So you call that number thinking that you're calling Apple support, and you'll get a scammer on the other end. Once they get you to the scam center, they'll have you install a remote access software onto either your phone or your computer. And then once they're at that point, they're going to search for personal information, bank account information. And then I've even seen them take your credit card for payment. And then instead of just taking the charge they say they're going to take, they're going to charge a lot of money on your credit card as well. So that's been a pretty common one. The other scenario is instead of just typing in the ad and getting the pop-up, they're actually just cold calling people as well. So they'll call you from a phone number, and they'll spoof the phone number so it actually looks like it's from Microsoft or Apple. So you can even look it up and the number matches, but it's a spoofed phone number, and they'll pretend to be from Microsoft or Apple or whatever, and they'll trick you into installing that remote access software as well that way.
Wow, and once that happens, again, what kind of recourse do you have? What can you do as law enforcement to help the people who have had their money taken in that way?
Yeah, so good question. What we do is if you report it to the police, we get all the reports and we look at the reports and see if there's information that we can follow. With the tech support scams, it usually leaves traces of the IP address on the computer because of the two-way connection with the with the remote access software. If we can get that, we can determine where the scam is coming from and try to follow the IP address. If it does come to out of country, it's harder for us to do anything with that. We work, our detail works with the Secret Service, so we provide them with the information so that maybe we can do something eventually to catch these criminals when they come into the U.S. at some point.
Okay.
But for if you are a victim of it, you definitely want to remove that software from your computer so that they no longer have remote access to the computer. So you could bring it to a local repair shop. I definitely don't use anyone online to do it. You want to use a local repair shop to remove anything from your computer after you're a victim of that.
Right. Well, I mean, it sounds like prevention is the best medicine. So let's go back to you. I mean, what is the best way to protect yourself from the get-go?
Well, we were doing a presentation it was a couple months ago. And it was so funny because there was this wonderful lady we know. She was watching our presentation. We were talking about scams and what you can do to keep this from happening to you. And while we were giving the presentation, behind her, her mom runs behind her computer and out the door. And she says, "Mom, where are you going? Where are you going?" She says, "I have to go down to Long's to go buy some gift cards because if I don't and send them off, the IRS is going to come and arrest me." So while we're taking inventory of all these things that you can do to protect yourself, her own mom in the next room this is happening to her. So really think about this, right? Like, what does that mean? It's a little bit of cynicism. So you have to be a little bit skeptical about these kind of people that are reaching out to you. Any sort of sense of urgency. So think about that sense of urgency. What does that mean? What if someone reaches out to you and says, "Hey, I'm in a foreign country and I've lost," right?
Everything,
we
right?
talked about this, right? You've lost everything and I need some money right away. Oh, that's a sense of urgency. Be skeptical, right? So that initial thing, that initial reaction is what they're depending upon. Romance scammers, that can be a long lost friend. I had a recent family member who reached out to me, and if they're watching this, they know I'm talking about them, right? They fell for an old friend who said, "I have this wonderful once in a lifetime opportunity. You know me, you can trust me." Well, that remote friend, their email was hacked, right? And it wasn't them doing this kind of communication. And so from an individual level, think about that. From a business level, that's usually where we come in. We work with mostly the private sector. And the private sector, there's a lot of these kind of, it's not so much, I'm a long lost friend, but they will impersonate someone inside of an email. We've seen email strings that they take chunks of previous emails that you've written and combine it into a new email message and then send that off and say, "Hey, you can trust me, send it to our new bank account." And as you know, with businesses, it's not a $5 or $500 transaction. We're talking $50,000, $100,000, $150,000. We've seen it as high as $1.5 million. These are bigger numbers that they're after. So yes, as an individual consumer, you are a target, but if you work at a company, which most of us do, you also have to look out for that sense of urgency and be skeptical about those kind of requests that are coming in and out.
Interesting. Raji, tell us about the profile of who is really being targeted with these scams, both on the individual level and perhaps on the business level too, if that's something that you address.
Well, what we're seeing is that a lot of seniors are being scammed. Seniors, they might be lonely. They're vulnerable emotionally, so they'll listen to someone who's calling them. Maybe they haven't talked to anybody in a long time. So they would, give them the information that the scammer is looking for. But following up on what Attila was saying about being skeptical, if you get a text message or an email from your bank saying they're requesting some information from you, what you can do, you could be skeptical, but what you can do is you can hang up and say, "I'll call you back." Look on the back of your credit card or your statement, call your bank directly and say, "Hey, I got a call from you earlier. Was this you?" Sometimes it's not. Sometimes they are actually calling you, but that's a good way to protect yourself from these scammers.
Yeah, and Rosanna, it sounds like it's really important to take a pause.
It is. The pause is the biggest thing. And they want us to feel that sense of urgency that Attila had mentioned because they don't want us to think. They want us to react. And when it comes to money, there really isn't an emergency involved with money. So we need to remember that. Go ahead, take a deep breath and stop and think about it. But the other one that's really important too, and kind of Attila was telling us in his story, is when you get these requests, Don't just run out and do it. Stop for a minute and call a friend. Because we do know that if you talk to someone else about what someone is asking you for, they probably will be able to tell you, hold it, stop, this is a scam. And that's really what you need. So there are a lot of people along the way that can help that. So like if they go into a bank, we know a lot of times if people are taking out large amounts, the teller will ask them what they're spending it for. And it's not because they're trying to be nosy. It really is they're trying to make sure that that money is being sent appropriately, not versus being caught up in a scam. And so sometimes those tellers can actually make that difference when they talk to the person and they find out, especially when their response is, I'm not supposed to tell you. And that's the other thing we see a lot out there. If this person you're talking with says, don't tell anyone, that's a real big red flag that this is not a legitimate offer, that you really need to talk to someone because they're trying to take advantage of you.
And that could be phrased two ways, right? That could be, don't tell anyone, this is a secret, in a bad way, or it could be, I want you to make all this money, so don't tell anyone about this opportunity.
Exactly. So they're using emotions. And that's really how all these scams work. They play on our emotions. Now, if we didn't have emotions, we probably wouldn't be scammed, but we're human, right? So whether they dangle that carrot in front of us or they threaten us with the police are coming to arrest you or the IRS or they're going to shut off your Medicare benefits, they use our emotions against us. And so that we start thinking emotionally and not rationally. And once we start to do that, the con artists call it putting us under the ether. And that's what they do to their victims. They want them to be disoriented. They don't want them to think. And we talk, there's so much of it happening internationally, it's hard to stop. So education is going to be important, and it's really important that people understand that we are having our emotions used against us, and we need to step back and take that pause.
We have a question here from Eric in Kailua that I want to bring to you. It says, has anyone been arrested locally for showing up at someone's door impersonating someone else?
Well, yeah, so we do have impersonation scams occasionally. As far as being arrested for, I guess, maybe dressing up as law enforcement, yeah, we've had arrests like that. Usually they're not scams. They're trying to do something else like robberies and stuff like that. There is a scam going around where they're calling people and pretending to be from Honolulu Police Department. They'll actually look up names on our website and use real officers' names. And then for those are mostly out of country, and there's same thing. They're going to spoof the phone number, so it'll actually look like it's coming from the police station when it's not.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, you know, for to answer Eric's question, this idea that someone comes, we had heard, I think it was during the pandemic, I remember hearing a lot about, if someone comes to your door threatening to turn off your electricity or whatnot, they're not going to do that. That's not how, HECO operates.
Yeah.
But if you're confronted with someone at the door, what is your advice to the homeowner of how to get that person out of there? And
Oh yeah, definitely. If somebody comes to the door, even if they're saying they're HPD, you should call 911 and talk to them. If they are HPD, we tell our dispatch where we're going to go before we go there. So they'll just let them know, yeah, that's actually HPD at your door. If it's not, then they'll send an officer out.
Okay. John on Facebook has a question for you, Attila. It says, what about buying online? That's all I do, and I get lots of emails about shipping or to confirm orders. How do the bad guys get my email, and how do we know what to trust? I get these texts on my phone that say, UPS, you have a package, click here to confirm. And it is the holiday season. I have 2 kids. I've been buying a lot of stuff online, like John, and thinking, oh, wait, did I order something from UPS? So what is your advice for those of us who do a lot of online retail?
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say something that could be a little controversial, but maybe it needs to be said. If you're going to buy something, buy it from a big retailer that you know, and it's even better if they have a brick and mortar store. So in my personal opinion, I stick with the Amazon. If it's an eBay, it's got to be a really high rated seller, because that's like a big garage sale essentially, right? And the big ones, the Costco's, the Home Depots, the Sam's, all those really big sellers, because they can stand behind their products. And if you do get a notice like that on your cell phone, well, why don't you just log into your portal, check to see if your package is coming. I do it all the time. I'm an Amazon person, so no shame in that. I think we all are. And you can go and you can see, well, oh, it's coming today. Wonderful. And Amazon will sometimes notify you when a package has been delivered, right? But they won't notify you if the package has been delayed, right? So kind of use some common sense on that one. And so every year the FBI releases something called the IC3s, the Internet Crime and Complaint Centers Report. And he knows all about this, right? And on there they say, okay, these are our top scams of the previous year. And up there on the top 3 is non-deliverable, right? So they ordered something online, it was quote unquote shipped and it never arrived. And so they were scammed out of their money. Now, any of us here can call up any online retail, let's say GoDaddy, and say, hey, I want an e-commerce website, and within 5 minutes, you got one. So you can erect an e-commerce website and sell anything at any price and start collecting money right away and not ship anything. A lot of folks do.
Wow.
Yeah, I would like to jump in on that because like you said, you've ordered a lot of stuff. So how do they know it's your phone number? Well, they don't really know it's you. They just have this list of phone numbers. They're sending everyone the same text. And the reality is, some people will get it and they'll be like, okay, I didn't order anything, and they know it's a scam. But then there are others who have, and they assume that it's really legitimately for them, where it's really, they're just throwing out this wide net and seeing how many people they can get caught up into that. So Tilla had some really good points there as far as know what you've ordered. That's really hard during the holiday season, right? But if you get that text and you really do want to know, go to where you ordered it from. Go to that email. If they have a portal, go there, but don't click on that link for a couple of reasons. One, it could direct you to a fake website that looks exactly like that retailer, but also there could be malware attached to that message that you've received. So you really need to be proactive and be very suspicious, especially if you get something from someone you didn't solicit. So it's one thing if you've called Social Security Administration and they're returning your phone call. Very different if they're just calling you out of the blue.
Yeah.
And those SMS messages, they're hilarious. My 10-year-old daughter, she comes up to me, she says, Dad, I want my money. I said, what are you talking about? He says, right here on my phone, it says PayPal. I got $150, click here to get it. I want my money, Dad. I said, you don't have a PayPal account, you're 10 years old. She says, I don't know, I don't care, I want my money. Please, I need to buy Robux.
There's a question here, somewhat related. This one says, my parents are on Facebook. I'd love for you to take this one, Raji. And I'm worried they'll click a scam link. What can I do to help them prevent that? We talked about prevention being so important. We need to help educate some of our family members.
Yeah, one of the missions of the Consumer Protection Office is to educate consumers. And we always tell seniors, if you see something, you click it, don't click it. Because you can download a virus into your computer. It's tempting because you want to shop, but we just tell people not to click. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and what is your advice on how we educate some of our family members? They could be older or younger. You know, some of us also have kids that might start engaging in e-commerce as well. What would you say to how we?
Yeah, so actually for that question with Facebook, mostly that's scrolling. So you go to Facebook and you'll scroll through and read different people's posts. It's all right to click on the post. You just want to get lured off of the site. So what they will do is they'll take ads and stuff on the side, and that's how they trick you off the site. So the stuff on the side that appears to like advertise different products, don't click on those. The other thing for Facebook is that they'll make fake profiles and try to pretend to be from your friend, like one of your friends, and they'll say, oh, here's a good investment, and listen to me, or contact me, or Facebook message me, and I'll let you know how to get a lot of money. So we've been seeing a lot of that too. So they basically try to trick you off of the site, and once they get you off of the site, then that's when they do more malicious stuff.
We have another law enforcement question. I'll stick with you for just a second. Tom from Waikiki saying, what is law enforcement doing to shut down telephone scammers? He says specifically from India, but I would imagine that there are telephone scammers from all over the place.
Yes, I would love to shut them down. Right now, it's the way the structure of the telephone service is. When they spoof a number, there's no way to trace it. So we actually tested this. So we used a spoofing app. So you could get some apps that'll allow you to type in a number, and then you type the number you're calling from, and the number you want to appear on the phone. and there's no way to trace it at this point. Supposedly, the telephone companies are working on a way to make more authentication in the process, but currently you cannot.
Right, and there's no, I mean, I know for years and years there was like a do not call list. You could get yourself on a do not call list. People's, companies couldn't solicit you, but these guys obviously don't operate by that do not call list.
Oh no, yeah, because they're scammers and they're spoofing numbers to pretend to be other people anyway. So even if you block certain numbers, they'll just change the number they're spoofing from, and they'll get by your block.
If I can interject on that, if that does happen to you, you can report it to your cell phone carrier, and the cell phone carrier can initiate a trace, and they'll see which voice over IP carrier they're using, and then the VoIP carrier can at least shut down that account. Of course, they can still open just another one up after that, but we've had some success by shutting down some accounts that way by reporting it to the carrier.
Raji, I would imagine that when this happens to people, there can be embarrassment and shame in this, right?
Yes.
That you might feel foolish for having run down to Long's and bought those gift cards. Tell us about the emotional component for those who have been victimized, because it's not just losing money, it's also losing face.
Yes, so people are really embarrassed. They don't report it. They don't tell their relatives. But we encourage people to report it to either to us, the Office of Consumer Protection, or to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, because we need to know what scams are out there. And that helps us, helps law enforcement, helps private companies know what's going out there and how to address it, and to let people know what the scams are.
Yeah, Roseanne, talk a little bit about that, the emotional component of all of this.
It really is devastating, and we see it a lot. We know that scams are underreported. You see the big numbers, but it's so significantly underreported because it comes back to that shame that we feel. And sometimes your friends don't mean it, but they'll say, well, how could you fall for that? Where we're now blaming the victim when they weren't the one who was being dishonest. And so we need to remember that, first of all, it's not a judgment on us. We're human, we have emotions, we're gonna have good days, we're gonna have bad days, and we all may get caught up in one. And it's okay, but by letting other people know, we're actually helping prevent this happening to other family members, our community. So it's really important that if this does happen, it's okay. Go ahead and report that. Because a lot of times, especially if you're reporting it to the state or to the Federal Trade Commission or to us at BBB, we're not going to put your name out there and say, oh, so-and-so got scammed. That's not how it works. We're there to actually help educate and let the consumers know what's happening in their community. So we know emotions play a role in this, but we do need to remember we're also helping out other people if we share what's happening.
Right, and Lieutenant, tell us a little bit about that, about the calls that you get. People feel kind of dumb, really.
Yeah, a lot of people are embarrassed to report the crime. That's why I said that the amount of scams we get, when I checked the numbers last week, we had 422 scams this year so far reported to us, but I'm sure it's much higher than that. We do hear people saying that, oh, I got scammed, but I was embarrassed to report it to police or whatever. It's okay to report it. It helps other people. What I do is I keep track of all the scams, and I put them on our website, so honolulupd.org, under information and cybercrimes. So if you think you're getting scammed, you can go over there and you can read and see if the scam's up there, and there's a chance that your scam that you're falling for right now is on there. That way you can not, fall for it.
So these folks, they're just doing as many as they can. It's just a numbers game.
Yes. So and it goes in trends too. So we see it like at the beginning of a week, we'll see one scam. I usually notify Crime Stoppers as well, so they can put that on the news, so we can stop it in its tracks before it gets too many people to fall for it.
Interesting.
And he's right. I'm talking about having that information online. At BBB, we just rolled out our brand new scam tracker where you can actually go look by the web address or the phone number or the type of scam, all sorts of different information, and put it in there and then see what other people are reporting. Because that's so helpful in sharing that information and knowing what's coming down. We look at what's happening on the mainland. And if we start to see a scam popping up there, it's most definitely something we're going to start to share out here. So hopefully we get to it before it gets, it hits our island. But we do take information from all over because they just send it all out and try to get as many victims as they can.
It feels like we're talking about COVID variants. We're going to see it on the East Coast, and then we're going to see it on the West Coast, and then it's going to come to Hawaii. But really, They just blanket with whatever they think is going to work. There's a question from the Big Island here. Is it a good idea to let your kids use your credit card number to order games or options online? I think it's not just your kids. Is it a good idea for you yourself to use your credit card online? And how do you know which sites are safe? You were saying stick with the big ones.
Stick with the big ones. And if you have to use a third-party seller, try to put a little bit of a sandwich between your money and now we're going to get into a money management conversation. I'm happy about this. I like this. So PayPal is a great intermediary. So PayPal has its own consumer protections. So if there's an option to pay with PayPal, use that and then attach your credit card to that. Now we've gone 2 steps, right? You're creating your own version of your own money mule, right? So we've gone 2 steps, use the PayPal, use the credit card, and if possible, if it's an ATM card, try to use it with an account that's separate from the rest of your funds. So let's say if your account has a few $1,000s in it, and this one account has $0 in it with its own card, perfect, link that to the PayPal, and then link it one more time, and then now you've protected your money 2 steps away. So that's a good way to start. If you do use a credit card, obviously everyone needs to check their statements at the end of every month, right? You've heard that a million times. Make sure you check your statement for any unusual charges. Well, it's true. You do have to kind of do that. But think about any apps that you can use on your phone so it makes it a little bit easier, right? So maybe while you're waiting in line somewhere for lunch or you're in Starbucks, well, just check a few transactions. Okay, that one looks great. Not so great. We're okay. So I hope I've answered that one. I did not want to forget, though, about what you said about shaming, because we come across this all the time in the workplace. From the workplace perspective, there's always that, we walk in and everything's on fire and the owner's sitting there says, oh yeah, Jerry clicked on another email again. I couldn't believe it. I told him every time, don't click on those emails. So don't do that in your workplace. It's not productive. Make sure to put aside the emotions. Don't point the finger at Jerry for clicking on that email. Yes, there's a few Jerrys out there. And really think about how you can just say, okay, we have an overall problem. Let's just address it non-emotionally. Let's bring in the pros. Let's get back to work. So same thing, you got to do it after everything happens. Let's just get back to work. No one's dying here.
But it has to be done on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You can't just do cybersecurity training once a year or every few years. It really needs to be an ongoing thing in any company. And also as individuals, we really need to stay on top of it and understand what's out there. And especially for those people who don't think it will ever happen to them, you're probably not as keeping your guard up and you're probably not learning what you need to do. The old scams with the misspellings and the bad grammar and the prince from Nigeria, while they still exist, they don't look like that anymore. And the spoofing of the numbers and the impersonation of the businesses, it's out there, it's real. And so when you are looking, you always need to know who you're buying from, and you need to make sure you're at that correct site when you do it. So as a consumer anymore, it is on us to really stay very proactive in educating ourselves.
Raji, the lieutenant said that there were over 400 that incidents that he had identified in the last year. How big of an issue is this here in Hawaii, do you think?
I was just looking at the statistics for Hawaii in the last 3 quarters for 2022. Out of 5,684 fraud reported to us and to FTC, 2,000 of it is imposter scams. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, so it's way ahead of the next would be identity theft, which is about 1,400. So these scams are really big.
And again, an imposter scam is someone saying, "Hi, I'm calling from the utility. I'm going to shut your power off. I'm calling from Board of Water Supply."
IRS.
IRS.
One thing we've seen recently was I get these emails, these voice messages in Chinese language. I don't understand Chinese, but from what I've heard is that somebody's impersonating the Chinese embassy, trying to tell their citizens to pay some money so they don't get deported or something like that. But that's good to know, because then we could target specifically certain communities, like in this case, Chinese Americans and Chinese immigrants, so that they understand that this is a scam.
Mm-hmm. There's Todd from Honolulu has a question, and I want to direct it to you because I like the idea of the sandwich, right? The PayPal sandwich, that we create another barrier to our information. He asks, can third-party payment apps like Venmo or Cash App be trusted?
Oh, we got a lot of scam notices about Venmo and Cash App and PayPal, and that even ties into Instagram. So in general, Yes. So Venmo is owned by PayPal, by the way. So it's not like they're the same company, but they're making it a little bit more accessible. It's great if you go out to dinner and you say, well, okay, well, you take your half of the check and I'll give you a little bit on Venmo. So it's an easy way to move money around, but in the same way, it's easy to get scammed about that. Venmo is not supposed to be used for business, even though most people do. So let's kind of get that out of the way. And if you are being requested for Venmo money, if at all you can, try not to use Venmo in the way it's not intended, i.e. to pay for piano lessons or horse riding lessons or whatever, right? You don't want to use Venmo for that. Write a check, because there's...
I pay for all of those things. The soccer lessons, the karate, all that stuff, I'm paying on, and so you're saying that's not a safe way to do that?
That's not how it's intended.
And why is that?
Because there are certain consumer protections that have been around for decades that come with writing a check, with using a credit card, with using an ATM card, and those consumer protections don't exist when you're using a Cash App or Venmo like this. So I'm sorry to make you nervous. I apologize.
But that's why they really recommend, if you're using Venmo, you send money to people you know. And so that really is going to help protect it, but it was not set up to transfer money other ways. And you're right, you don't have the same protections you would have with a credit card or a check. So understanding what protections you have out there and how to use those platforms is really important.
And the more assets you have, the more you're going to become a target. So we haven't talked a lot about SIM swapping yet, but we've had a few cases of SIM swapping. I'm sure you have too, Andy.
Yep. What is that?
So here's what happened to us. So someone came in, they said, you know, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened, but a lot of my money's been stolen, over $100,000. And we said, wow, how did this occur? They said, well, you wouldn't believe it. I have a T-Mobile phone, and somebody from who knows where called T-Mobile for 14 hours straight with a sob story. And the sob story went something like this. Oh, I'm out of the country. I lost my phone in the water. I got this phone from a vending machine and from a little retailer. I need you to put my phone number onto this phone. And of course, at AT&T and T-Mobile and all these other places, they ask you questions. Mother's maiden name or whatever. And so, of course, they start Googling you. Maybe they have had some information about you in the past. It's called OSINT, Open Source Intelligence Gathering. And they go out and they say, oh, yes, that's me. Please swap my number over. And the moment that they do that, now all that two-factor authentication, all that stuff that you've set up, that text message that, that says, hey, enter this PIN before you can check your email, all that gets taken away. And now they have control of that. And they were able to very easily impersonate you. And it's difficult to get back after that occurs. And so in this person's case in particular, where he lost over $100,000, they called for over 14 hours. And finally they found someone who would do the SIM swap, took over his phone. His phone immediately stopped working. I'm holding a virtual phone here. His phone immediately stopped working, and they started stealing money right away.
And did any of that money come back?
Well, that's something I can't talk about. But all I can say is if it starts happening to you, get law enforcement involved right away. And think about what other vendors they can get into. So in this case in particular, they got into their Home Depot account. Because they had a Home Depot commercial account, they started getting materials that they were then selling for money that way. Wow. So, and they got into bank accounts and insurance accounts, and it was a big mess. It's very difficult after the genie's out of the bottle.
Wow. John from IAO wants to know, do scammers ever get caught? Do they go to prison? Do you have any, on the other side of this, we're talking about all these victims. What about some victories here?
Yeah, so for scammers, we will catch local scammers, and they will go to jail. Speaking of SIM swap, we did have a SIM swapping case, where there was 16 victims on the mainland. And there was actually attributed to 3 juveniles, one being in Hawaii, who was arrested.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, Paula from Tantalus wants to know, and this is the time of year where we do a lot of charitable giving. So let's start with you on this. How do you know if a charity donation is legit?
Great question. How do you know? And that's a lot of times we're seeing these appeals, and they are appealing to our emotions because they're trying to raise funds. You really need to know what that charity is and who they are and do your background. And there's a lot of different ways you can do it. At give.org, you can see about a charity to see if they are a legitimate charity. Also, the state of Hawaii, you can go and see if they're registered here as well, because doing our homework about a charity is really important, and understanding that we're not being sent to an imposter charity that looks exactly like one that we want to donate to. But also there are so many people out there fundraising right now. And we're like, oh, we want to give money for this. But we have to understand and that we need to be mindful of who we're giving our money to. So when we see tragedy happen and people want to donate for that, sometimes they just think and they go ahead and send the money and they don't stop and think, how is the best? Especially if you're in a location where it's hard to get to, you need to be able to find a charity that actually can get in there and do the job quickly. So step back before you give your money. Again, that pause, right? And do your homework. And it's great to give, and we should give. But make sure you know who you're giving to, and that is a legitimate charity.
Mm-hmm. And Raji, what do you say to Paula? How do you know if a charity is legitimate? Roseanne was talking about how the state does have some verification, information.
Well, they can contact the DCCA because you have to be registered as a charity. That's one thing. There's also Charity Navigator, a website where you can, where they rate these charities, so you know if they're legitimate or not. So that's a good way to look.
Okay. Alan,
if you do find a good charity, get your kids involved, right? You can kind of start the giving process early, and that way they as they grow up, they'll feel more appreciative of what they have, right?
That is the spirit of the season. Alan Naalehu wants to share a scam, and I'm interested if you've ever heard of this. The caller was selling a car on Facebook and sent a link to confirm that you're real to buy the car. So I'm a little bit confused. The caller was selling the car on Facebook, but then sent a link. It's a little bit confusing the way this is worded, but what kind of, a lot of people do buy and sell big ticket items, even cars on Facebook Marketplace. I know that when I had first moved back home to Hawaii, I almost fell for one of those rental scams, which are so ubiquitous and now well documented, but at the time I'd never heard of it. This apartment sounded great, and then I went and it wasn't actually for rent, and they said, send me the money, I'll send you a key. But in this case, if you are doing large transactions on something like Facebook, how do you make sure that that is a secure transaction?
Yeah, so we definitely get a lot of scams on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and online marketplaces like that. What they'll do usually is they'll see your post and then they'll say, oh, I want to buy it. Let me send you a check. And they'll send you a forged check or a stolen check to pay for it. And usually what they'll do is send you, they'll accidentally send you too much money, like $30,000 instead of $3,000. And then they'll say, oh, can you get the money and send me back the money because I'm going to get in trouble or whatever. And they trick people into giving them back the $27,000 to pay the difference. And then the check bounces. So that's a pretty common scam.
And that makes sense because you've deposited it, so it shows it as pending, so you think you've gotten real cash.
And even we've seen where the banks will clear it, so you think it's a real check, and then it'll bounce. And that goes back to the secret shopper scam they mentioned earlier. Same thing where they'll pay you in a forged check, put it in the bank, it looks like it clears, so you take all this money and go and buy gift cards, and then they want you to read the number to them because you're a secret shopper. That's what they're trying to trick you into.
But in this case, this is an SMS notification. So
so they're trying to trick you into clicking a link on them.
Either that or they are trying to break into your account. So they already know, exactly, Roseanne knows. They're already in and they're like, oh, the last step is the two-factor authentication. So the imposter will say, I want to make sure that you're not scamming me, right? You hear that.
Oh, yes, explain that to me.
Right.
Because I think I wasn't totally understanding the scenario. So walk us back. How does this work?
So scammers, in order to appear legitimate, they know that, oh, there's scammers out there. How do I fool this person? I know. I'm going to say, I'm skeptical of you. So they say, look, I'm going to send you a text message to make sure that you are who you say you are, that you're really interested in buying my high-ticket item, right? And when they do that, you say, oh, yeah, the text message is 1234. Right, great. Now they're inside your Gmail account.
Yep.
That's it.
Wow.
That's how they can get in.
What strikes me about both of these scenarios, but particularly with the check, is if I've seen that clear, and the bank is giving me the money, then what is the best advice? Do we wait?
Yeah, so what you should watch for those is the name on the check, because a lot of times it'll be not the person you're dealing with. It'll be some other name or another business name on there. That's number one. Number two, if they're saying they overpaid or anything like that, it's going to be a scam, because who writes a check accidentally for $30,000 more than what it should have been? Stuff like that to look for.
And on those check scams, what we saw at the Better Business Bureau was the demographic for that actually was the younger demographic. The 18 to 24-year-olds were really impacted by those fake checks because they don't deal with checks. They don't understand that banking process that it takes 7 to 10 days to completely clear through the system, though the banks will let you have your money sooner than that. So they really were caught up in that scam because they didn't understand the banking system or how to really write a check.
Wow.
Wow, they'd fall for some CD and VHS scams too, probably.
Ken asked via email, when I receive an unsolicited email from a suspicious organization, should I click the link to unsubscribe or report them as spam?
Oh, that's a good question. So are we talking about a business or a personal? If it's personal, it's good that, especially like you're in Gmail, you can report this as spam or phishing, and then it goes into Gmail's like big master database. And then you protect everyone, right? So you're helping to protect the entire community. If you're in a workplace, now it's a little bit different. You want to report that to your IT department, because the success of the organization and being resilient to these kind of scams, that's going to depend on reporting, right? So the IT department is now the one there, and they can now fine-tune spam filters. And by the way, if you do run a business, I do advise you to actually pay for a spam filtering service. There's plenty to choose from, and that's going to take a little bit of fine-tuning over the next few weeks or months as you implement it, but it's going to reduce those kind of scams from coming in. And as a business, right, you're a target. So think about what this means. If you're an individual and they take over a computer, what are they going to get? Some family photos maybe. But if they're inside of an organization, now they're stealing PII, which is personally identifiable information, credit cards, and if they're especially a government contractor or participating in any sort of federal work, they could have access to CUI, controlled unclassified information, top secret information, stuff that you don't want getting out. Now we're entering espionage, right? I think I'm going a little fast because I know we're low on time. Point is, if you do get something suspicious, try to report it to your IT department if you're in a business, and if you're an individual, try to report it to Google or your email provider.
Okay, and similar question, Raji, maybe you can take this one. Should I forward scam texts to 7726? My carrier suggests this as a way to report scam texts. Does it make a difference?
I think Attila might be better to answer this question.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Every carrier is doing their best to try to prevent these kind of text message scams. No one likes it, no one wants it, right? They know it's a bad thing. So I'm not familiar with that particular one. That one sounds like a Verizon one, but each carrier has their own one. Some of them have apps where you can report it directly. The key is to get in touch with the carrier because they also want to stop this. They don't want their entire messages flooded. In fact, it's kind of interesting. A couple years ago, this is an interesting story. A couple years ago, they did some analysis of what kind of data was being moved through cellular networks. And so they did this analysis on the top 3 most interesting cellular networks, right? T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. And what they found is up to 60% of all data traffic, so that's SMS messages, whatever they're doing, was considered illegitimate, so scam related. Wow. So there's that much data going on, and they want to fight this, right? Because it's consuming their bandwidth. It's over half their bandwidth is being consumed by this kind of trash. So if you can let the carrier know, you're doing a service to them.
Wow, interesting. Raji, I know you can answer this one, and this is Andy from Pearl City. Is there a place that I could learn more about cybersecurity? We've offered so much information in the short time that we have tonight, and it just feels like people are being targeted from all sides. Where should we start to protect ourselves?
Well, you can educate yourself on our website at the Office of Consumer Protection. Also, another good website is with the Federal Trade Commission, FTC.gov. Mm-hmm. They have a wide information there that talks about different scams and how to protect yourself.
Right, and I know, Lieutenant, you said that you're identifying the ones that are happening right here in Honolulu.
Yes.
I'm interested, for people who lose money in these scams, how much of it do they ever get back?
Usually you don't get your money back.
Nothing?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty rare, unless, of course, we made a local arrest. If it's not a local arrest, then you're probably not going to get your money back.
And I know that, with a credit card, you might have a little bit more protection, that if you get ripped off with a credit card, sometimes the credit card company...
Yeah, the scammers normally won't use credit cards because there is protection with credit cards. But we have seen where the credit card company will deny the claim if you willingly gave the money away. Like if you were tricked into giving money away on the credit card, sometimes they won't give you your money back.
Wow.
That's why they use gift cards. Gift cards is an easy way to take your money. So anytime you're buying anything, never use a gift card to buy it, or you're probably getting scammed.
Interesting. And I know that you said that your website's a resource as well to learn more.
Exactly. So we have the scam tracker tool that you can look at the different scams, but we also have other sections on the website that really help people educate and how to shop online and what scams are seen and how to protect themselves. So always those tips out there really just to help protect the consumers.
Okay. She says, this person says, have you heard of this scam? Roseanne will ask you, someone claiming to be from Spectrum called me asking if I had old equipment, but I haven't been a customer for years. When I told them that, they hung up. I looked up the number they called from. It did not come back as a Spectrum number. So the cable box.
Right. So yes, whether it's Spectrum or any other company, yes, they are calling because the odds are they're going to get somebody eventually who is a customer of Spectrum, and they're going to try to con them. So it is not unusual. We see it a lot. The reports we received at Better Business Bureau last year, Amazon was, for us, the #1 impersonated organization out there. Now, it wasn't Amazon reaching out to people. It was people pretending to be Amazon. So it goes back to that impersonation that we talk about. So people are impersonating companies, organizations, and they're just guessing, and they're throwing out that wide net, and they are going to catch a few people in it.
And when they pretend to be Amazon, what does that scam look like?
It's usually, a lot of it has to do with delivery of packages. You've placed an order, and then they're following up on that order. There's a problem with your order. Click here and talk to somebody. And now what's going to happen is you're going to see that one pop up more right now, because we just got through Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So they know when those shopping days are happening, and they start to send those text messages out. So they're going to send it to everybody. And people who didn't order are going to be like, well, that's a scam. And people who did are like, oh, that must be my order. And they'll click on it. And that's the last thing you should do. You really need to go back to your account, and especially at Amazon, you can track it there. And if there's any issue with your order or delay in the delivery, you're going to be able to find it right there in your account.
That's really good advice. I want to get a last piece of advice from each of you as well. We just have a few minutes. What would be your takeaway for people who are watching tonight?
Well, we always tell people don't pay with gift cards. We enforce the gift card law here in Hawaii. And one of the scams we've seen recently is people taking gift cards from, you sell them at Long's and they have that rows of them. They scratch off the pin, and then they get the pin, and then they cover it again with, it makes it look like it's intact. And then when it's activated at the cash register, they get an alert somehow, and then they spend the money really quickly. So what we recommend with gift cards is keep your receipts and spend it as soon as possible, because you don't want to leave it in a drawer and wait a couple of years for it to sit there.
That's so interesting that you say that, because I was just looking at a gift card kiosk today and thinking, oh, this is so convenient. I can just buy all the stores. I don't have to go to all the retailers.
Right. So it's good to buy it from someone from back in the counter, something where it's closer to register, where they don't have access to scratching off the PIN code.
Right. Okay, Lieutenant, what's your best advice or your takeaway today?
Yeah, basically, you want to verify who you're dealing with if you're dealing with somebody online. One of the ways to check websites, so if you are doing online shopping at something that's not like Amazon, you can always go to, it's called the domain lookup, so domain who is. So just go to Google and type domain who is. Pops up one, GoDaddy hosts one, and you could type in the name of the website that you see, the URL, and it'll tell you who owns that website and how long ago it was registered. So if it was just registered, it's probably a fraud website.
Oh, interesting. If you know how long it's been up, that's interesting. What's your best takeaway tonight?
Well, I'm going to talk to the network defenders, those who are potentially responsible for networks that could get infected. So at this time of year, the footholds that the bad guys have put in to your network, they're going to activate, because it's the holidays. It's the most inconvenient time. I joke about this, but every Friday we get a call around 4:00 p.m. That's like the ideal time for them to deploy something. So network defenders, look for footholds inside of your networks and become educated, right? So we talked about where to get some good resources. The best one is the InfraGuard program. It's the joint coalition between the FBI and the private sector, where they release information about what's going on in the world and how it can affect you and how you can mitigate against a potential problem. Businesses are at risk, And as network defenders, this is our job to protect them. So you need the best information. FBI has it, so go for it. Homeland Security Information Network, or HISN, is another great resource, so I recommend that as well. Many of these are free or low cost, and keep the continuing education going, right? Run those tabletop exercises. Make sure that your systems are fully patched. Make sure you have a professional cybersecurity awareness training program, not a brown bag lunch. So do these kind of best practices, and if in doubt, reach out to a cyber professional who does this all the time. I know someone who can help.
Okay, lots of great advice. Thank you so much. We'll leave it there. We want to thank our guests for joining us tonight. Attila Saris, President and CEO of SIPAC Cybersecurity Services, Roseanne Freitas from the Better Business Bureau, Raji Tolentino, attorney for the State Office of Consumer Protection, and Lieutenant Andrew Maddock from HPD's Cyber Crimes Detail. Insights will be taking a break for the holidays. We want to thank everyone who joined us this year and participated in our conversations, whether it was over the phone, email, or through social media. We look forward to hearing from all of you in the coming year. For Insights on PBS, I'm Yanji Denise. Happy holidays. Aloha.